What is something illegal that should 100% be legal? Drugs. When you stop treating drug abusers as criminals and start treating them like medical patients with a disease, which they are, actual improvement is the result. Throwing someone in jail for years with no treatment and likely abuse by the system, they're just going to go right back to their drug habit when they get out. These aren't bad people. They're sick people. I should have the right to put what I want in my body, and the government should have no say in it. Legalization would only make drug use safer for people since there wouldn't be any street drugs cut. To hell with dangerous cutting agents. In Portugal, decriminalization alone lowered the overdose rate by 83%. Imagine what legalization would do. Not to mention, the numerous benefits and uses of many drugs that governments completely ignore to push the agenda of drugs bad. Being homeless. I spent 7 years on the streets and have been arrested so many times for crimes made up to victimize the homeless. I was arrested 4 times for obstructing a footpath. Then I walked past a police station that completely blocked the footpath with personal cars, 1 or 2 official vehicles. I went into them with rage and pointed out that I have been in a cell for a cumulative number of days for this offense. They insisted it did not apply to vehicles. I did not budge, until someone went out with me and agreed to move some cars. No one was arrested. Every single person had to walk on the busy road to avoid the police. Never did I ever obstruct anyone when I was tucked away in a doorway. Sleeping on the streets. In the UK, we had some cases where police were taking people's sleeping bags in the middle of winter to try and put a stop to people sleeping on the streets. That's how people die. I know a bunch of homeless people who have been fined for sleeping rough. If you're not going to step in and do something about it, homelessness doesn't make the result illegal. As someone who was homeless themselves for 5 years, it's horrific. Sleeping in your car in a parking spot for an extended period of time, what are they expecting? People who are sleepy to be out driving? In fact, just the crime of loitering and sleeping anywhere public. I understand that if a guy is sleeping somewhere inconvenient, he should move, but seriously, if a guy is just napping in the middle of a park, leave them alone. Those laws only exist because we have a chronic hatred of the homeless, and punishing them with pinpricks is a lot easier than giving them a place to live. Pistol grips and thumbholes on rifles and automatic rifles in CA. It's a dumb law that doesn't do anything practically. It just makes it harder to have a surer grip on the weapon, which only might make it more dangerous, but mostly it doesn't actually protect or prevent anything. If a criminal wants to switch out the regulation grip on their automatic rifles, then they just have to buy a standard grip. It's not even that hard to do. People under the age of 18, being allowed to make their own medical decisions without their parents/guardians being privy to them. And before folks jump down my throat, I'm not talking about young kids like 5 years old. I'm talking 13-year-olds, possibly older. One of my friends in high school had horrible periods. She'd be in horrible pain/throw up/pass out/etc. It started when she was 12. At 15, she was formally diagnosed with endometriosis, and her pediatrician recommended she be put on birth control to help with the symptoms. Her parents said no because birth control is sinful and made her suffer till she was 18 and could get away from them to get on it. If she had been given control over her medical decisions, it could have saved her years of immeasurable pain and suffering and issues with fertility long term. This is a bit dark and certainly controversial, but assisted suicide/euthanasia. As a healthcare worker, I've seen some horrors transpire. Situations where people had no quality of life, I mean zero, and still had to carry on regardless because we can't let them go. Forcing people to live when they can't move, speak, and soil themselves constantly. It's just not okay. There's nothing humane about it. The option should be available for those who need it. If people want to die, it should be legal and safe. A place where you can go to make sure it's not botched, where it leaves you alive in much worse condition. Like a room, you go in, and they slowly replace the air with nitrogen, so you don't feel like you're suffocating. You get lightheaded and pass out, but you never get that stuffy, choking feeling you get when you're holding your breath or choking. As a result, people will pass out without realizing that something is wrong. They could give you a pipe with some opium to smoke before so you get high, then just go to sleep and never wake up. People should have the right to end their lives with dignity. Not illegal per se, but in a gray area. Cops, doing no-knocks or legitimately threatening your life and not being able to defend yourself. Remember some video of a poor kid crying while given confusing commands with the police officer yelling at him to crawl with his hands and feet behind his back and then unloading on him. People should have all leeway to defend themselves against that tyranny and not get criticized in court. It shouldn't be considered piracy if there's no way to buy the product anymore. Aside from a used copy from someone completely uninvolved in making the product, ABC company is not making that game or even that system anymore. XYZ company went out of business. There are literally zero ways for me to give the copyright holders money and receive that product in return. And the people selling it used would still be fine because there are people who actually enjoy owning the product itself. My sister is one of them. She bought an actual Super Nintendo last year. Me? I just want to play the game, and I don't care how. Defending yourself. In many Latin American countries, if someone enters your home and hurts you, defending yourself and, in the process, hurting that person can take you to jail. Why? Because they're just victims of society. Also, cops shooting murderers or kidnappers, they can't because they could go to jail. How can they defend us then? Mushrooms and everything around them. Usage, manufacturing, distribution, etc. I don't partake anymore, but I feel that there are significantly more benefits to you than there are negatives. Not only that, but they have legitimate medical uses that we could find out more about if they were legalized and properly researched. Pirating classic games. I'm talking PS3 or 360 era games. Just to be clear, I don't support pirating Wii U games and stuff like that. I'm just saying you're not going to find a fresh copy of Double Dash anywhere, but eBay. And we both know you probably don't have the money for a game that costs 3 times the original price. I know in some states, it's illegal to modify certain parts of your car. And in a lot of states, you have to pass yearly vehicle inspections in order for the car to be legally driven on roads. Here in SC, we have pretty much no regulations on what you can do to your car. A lot of people cut out their catalytic converters here and even straight pipe their exhaust. In Austria, and I think in many other countries too, it's illegal to take food out of a supermarket's trash. It still blows my mind how insanely stupid this is, and I'm so mad about how much food we throw away that can easily be given away to people in need. Using your things how you want them. I don't care about the license of the programs on my computer. They're mine. Every single 0 and 1 in my computer is mine and paid for by myself. I can manipulate that however I want. I'm not allowed to sell other people's work, fair enough, but if you tell me that I can't legally modify the state of electricity in my computer, I'm going to laugh at you. It's mine. Anything which seeks to take away my control and give it to an external party is, by definition, malware. Slapping very rude and arrogant people. It might not change them immediately, but it will make you feel better instantly. And if everybody joins in on the slapping, awful people might get some insight. If you get slapped 6 times a day, it just might make you think. Vape with tobacco in it. Yes, tobacco is bad, but the chemicals they put in standard cigarettes to make the paper burn slower is so much worse for your health. Vape with tobacco is illegal to sell in Australia.